KSJE is supported by San Juan Regional Medical Center, a community-owned and operated hospital. Here for you when you need us. From emergency care to routine checkups and screenings, caregivers are here and ready to provide the safe, high-quality care you need close to home. Online at sanjuanregional.com with the latest health information and resources to help you live life better here. KSJE is supported by the Farmington Civic Center, bringing a full slate of entertainment to Farmington and San Juan County. Ballet Folklorico, celebrating their 70th anniversary, Wednesday, April 6th at 7:30 p.m. The Farmington Civic Center, 200 West Arrington in downtown Farmington. Find out more online at fmtn.org/shows or at 505-599-1148. 10 minutes past 8 o'clock. It is Wednesday morning, the 30th day of March, 2022. Good morning, everyone. I'm Scott Michlin. Thanks for tuning in to KSJE 90.9 FM, over the air, of course, here in San Juan County, New Mexico. Streaming everywhere else on the planet from our website, KSJE.com. And we welcome our viewers who are watching this visual radio program. It is streaming out live this morning to the KSJE Facebook page, our YouTube channel, and our Twitter account. We're glad that you are with us this morning, everybody, because coming up in the next few moments, my regular conversation with Farmington Schools Superintendent Dr. Eugene Schmidt. He will be here in the next few moments to talk with us and also introduce us to two of the school district's newest principals. We'll introduce them to you. We'll take a look at the budget that's coming up for Farmington Schools and much, much more. That conversation in the next few moments right here on KSJE. Then later on this hour, of course, it is my weekly conversation with Ron Price. He will bring to us another great lesson about life in the sandbox that we all share together. That's coming up at 8:50 a.m. this morning here on KSJE. Next hour, it's Roving with the Arts, our weekday classical music program hosted by Mick Hess. And this morning, Mick is featuring 90 minutes of Shostakovich and his ballet called The Golden Age. You'll hear that this morning beginning at 9:06 on KSJE. Then that'll take us to 10:30. And right on Four Corners, our local and regional author program, Tracy Hales-Vass is speaking with author Jonathan Miller this morning about the Shakespeare Incident, his latest book and his Rattlesnake Lawyer series. That's coming up today at 10:30, right on Four Corners here on KSJE. Don't forget, you can also connect with us on our Instagram page in addition to Twitter and YouTube and Facebook. And if you're a podcast person, you can subscribe for free to KSJE Podcasts wherever you listen to podcasts. So sign up and take us with you and maybe discover a new program that you haven't heard before. Weather forecast outside our studios here at San Juan College. It's a cloudy morning so far, 41 degrees at the moment. We're expecting mostly sunny skies by this afternoon, but those winds, it's spring in New Mexico. Those winds will be here too. High wind warning in effect. We could see wind gusts up to 55 miles per hour this afternoon. Today's high, 58 degrees in Farmington. Windy overnight tonight with a low near 30. Things may calm down a bit on Thursday with partly sunny skies and a high of 59 degrees before some showers in the forecast overnight Thursday. Partly sunny skies on Friday with a high of 63 degrees. Clear Friday night with a low of 34, and then maybe back into the lower 70s for Saturday and Sunday with overnight lows near 40 degrees. Well, let me introduce my guests who are here with us this morning. As I mentioned, two of the newest principals for the Farmington School District, and let me introduce them to you this morning. Liz Ledick is here. She is the new principal of Bluffview Elementary School. Good morning and welcome to KSJE. Good to have you here.
Good morning. Thank you.
You bet. Great to have you here. Also joining us here in the studio is the newest principal for Country Club Elementary School. That is Terrell Hennigar. And good morning to you. Good to have you here as well.
Good morning. It's good to be here.
Welcome to both of you. And so as we get started, let me ask you both a little bit about your backgrounds in education and then some of your plans for your principalship at your new schools. And so, Liz Ledick, let me start with you. And again, welcome and give us a little bit about your background in education.
Okay. Well, thank you for this opportunity. I'm very excited. And first of all, I wanted to thank Dr. Schmidt for this opportunity. His strong leadership and vision for our school district has been wonderful. And he's not only tried to make Farmington Municipal Schools great in the state, but also in the country, as been proven by the several accolades the district has been given from the country and from the state. So I believe his vision has been very successful. So we're very grateful for him. I come to you with 11 years in the classroom experience. I was 3 years as an instructional coach in Kirtland for math. And I've been at Bluffview Elementary for 10 years now as the assistant principal. So I'm very excited to take on this new opportunity to be the principal and continue with our vision and keep the things we've already built growing.
Right.
So it'll be wonderful.
Congratulations again. And so you're familiar with that school and those students and the staff, and that's maybe an important thing.
Oh, it's going to be a great asset and a great strength for me.
Right.
I know the families.
Right.
Yeah.
And you mentioned a little bit about your work in education, of course, with the leadership from Dr. Schmidt and the school board, of course, and the other support staff in the school district. And so how important is that to kind of carry forward some of these things that are already happening in the schools for curriculum and methods of teaching and all those different things?
It's incredibly important to have that strong leadership up top because they are the ones that fuel us and give us that vision. And it's incredibly important to have that support. So we're very grateful for that. And every single school has the same vision, and we're all working towards the same things, which I think is very important to make us all stronger.
Right. And for parents and guardians who are maybe watching and listening to us this morning, what would your message be to them who hopefully are seeing some of these results with their students or on the report cards or things like that they're bringing home?
Definitely. In the past, we have noticed that parents really do trust us with their children and their education. They really do. And one time we did a survey, and I was thinking the parents were going to say many things about the curriculum or about, their education. And the number one things parents wanted was for their kids to be happy coming to school. I was very surprised by that. So that has been one of our main focuses as far, to get the kids and our staff happy to come to school. But I do feel like they trust us to do that, and we continuously try to improve that art of teaching so that we can make sure they have an equitable and excellent education here in Farmington.
And a great way to describe it, the art of teaching. I think that's very true, and we're learning more and more about that art as we learn more about students and how they learn and some of these other things as well. And I suppose if you make it fun for them to come to school, the learning kind of follows automatically.
Definitely. The culture of the school, I would say, is probably the biggest thing that you can do, making sure the culture is happy and safe and that everybody loves coming to school, and then that trickles on down. If teachers are happy, then kids are happy and they work harder and they produce more. So that's what we have found at Bluffview. Very
good. Well, again, congratulations, and thank you for coming in this morning and speaking with me a little bit about your job and your new job at Bluffview Elementary School.
Thank you, Scott.
You're very welcome. Let me introduce our other principal who's with us this morning. Terrell Henniger is here. Good morning again to you, and welcome and congratulations. You are the new principal at Country Club Elementary School in Farmington. And so again, a little bit of background on your work with Farmington schools and other districts, and then your plans for Country Club.
I've been in education for about 20 years now. I started in 2002 as an educational assistant. So I feel like I've come a long ways and a long journey.
You've walked the walk and talked the talk, I think, I would say. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I've been from educational assistant to teacher, and then the last 4 years I taught elementary, taught middle school, and now the last 4 years I've been assistant principal at Ladera. So it's been a very amazing journey, and I feel blessed.
Congratulations. And so taking over as principal at a different school then, what does that mean for you? What are your thoughts and plans moving forward?
Well, it's an exciting time. It's a very big honor. I feel like, Country Club is a very esteemed school, and I'm so excited about what the future holds. And they're great kids, great teachers. I know there's a lot of talent, and I just can't wait to tap into that and go forward, reaching for excellence.
Very good. And seeing some of the results in the district from what some of the procedures and changes have been implemented over the last few years, it seems like things are moving in the right direction for kids of all age ranges and ethnic and economic status and all those different things. And so moving forward, is that something you hope to be able to continue to push out to your teachers and your staff to be able to, again, continue to help these kids through the elementary school grades?
I do. I feel like the district has been on we have a great vision. They've been on a good path. I believe they've set some things ahead of us that we have a plan, and I hope that continues. And just as Ms. Leddick said, it's very important for that vision to be cast and to come down to us, top-down approach. And I want to take that and run with it. I want to build the relationships that need to be built, and welcome families into our building, and just love kids. It's all about the kids, and so that's the number one goal is what we do for kids, and we want to make it a safe and wonderful environment for them, and just see their smiling faces as they walk through the door every day.
Right. Very, very true. Well, and again, we're hoping to see more of their smiling faces maybe as mask mandates maybe go away or things like that. And you can see more of their faces and again, make it a great time. But coming out of COVID, I mean, that's got to be something that concerns, I would think, both of you for how kids are learning, how much COVID has impacted that. As we hear, kids are pretty resilient. They kind of bounce back. They can learn from home. They can learn in class. But I think everyone wanted to get them back in the classroom as soon as we could do that safely. And so, again, moving forward, that seems to be how things are headed, that kids are going to be in the classroom. We've kind of learned how to do that safely and be able to keep them face-to-face with their teachers.
Yes. We, COVID was a very difficult situation. It was very difficult for our kids. It was very difficult for our teachers. But I am so proud of the work that has been done in Farmington schools. I'm very proud of the teachers and the efforts that they have put in, and our families, and they've gotten involved and they've worked with their kids, and it's been exciting to see. It was a challenge, but I believe we met that challenge, and we met that well. And I believe that Farmington Schools was better prepared than a lot of schools in the state, or a lot of schools in the country as well. We have the one-to-one laptop initiative, which adding technology, to the mix. Technology has been a passion of mine throughout the years, and it's just it is great to have everyone back in school, but I believe that we met that challenge and we did it well.
Sure. Well, and that technology part of it would be, I think, kind of levels the playing field, don't you, when you talk about students and families who may not have the resources to buy their child a laptop, but
Exactly.
If the school is providing it to everybody, then every child has the same resources, or at least should have the same resources to come to school with and do the assignments and be remote if they need to be remote, or whatever the case may be.
Right. Providing that equity across the board for our families. We even had the ability to provide internet service when that was needed. But getting those families connected, it means so much.
And let me turn back to Liz Leddick just for a minute to see your comments on this as well. I mean, the laptop initiative and being able to make sure your kids have access to this technology, that's got to be an important thing for you as well as a leader of a school.
Yes, I totally agree with Mr. Henniger. Our district was very prepared, and so it was nice to have that technology available to us. And I do feel like we were able to give that equitable education to every student and provide those hotspots and the internet for everyone in our district. And so I think we came out a little farther ahead than some other districts. So that was nice to see. We're still catching up, but we're closer than most.
Good to hear. Well, very good. Well, again, to both of you, thank you for coming in this morning. Congratulations to you both on your new positions with Farmington Schools. I know a lot of parents will be watching and wanting to maybe visit with you from time to time and see how things go. You probably have a busy summer ahead to get ready for the fall. But congratulations and thanks for coming in, both of you.
Thank you.
Very exciting.
You're very welcome. Thank you very much. The two newest principals of the Farmington School District, my guests this morning here on KSJE. Thank you again, and we'll let you two head out if you need to get to work. I know Dr. Schmidt is probably watching and making sure that we do that. And then let me turn to our other guest who is with us here in the studio, and that is the Chief Financial Officer for the Farmington School District. Bobby Newland is also here in the studio. Good morning to you, and thank you for coming in this morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
You bet, you bet. And as we were mentioning, budgets, it's budget season.
It is.
And so we'll let Dr. Schmidt get settled here. He's just moving into place here as we do this, and he's about to get set up, and we'll get him all ready to go, and I think that will be pretty good. We just need to tilt your camera up a little bit there, Dr. Schmidt, and then we'll get you set, and we'll have you.
How do I look?
You look fabulous, as you always do. I need to fix your name here in just a moment, so I'm going to do that really quick as well.
Debonair.
Yes, indeed. So very good. But Bobby Newland, let me turn to you a little bit about just give us an idea on budgets, and things are looking pretty good.
They are. It's a wonderful budget year. We actually have money to spend. There's a focus on, of course, the students and learning, as there always is. But the district is going to create a standalone virtual program for grades 6 through 12. There will be supports to the athletics and activities, and there's an enhancement to career and technical programs, and salary increases for all employees, which is the
Right.
big excitement.
That's true. Dr. Schmidt, now we've got you, I think, ready to go. So I'll bring you into the conversation too. Good morning, by the way.
And good morning, and thank you, Scott, for the chance to share. Let me just jump back into our new principals.
Yes.
And certainly I welcome Mr. Tabota's thoughts, because he runs our media program. But you make a good decision when Facebook lights up.
Ah.
And so that's kind of one of my gauges of success, if because people either celebrate my decisions or not. And
They're not shy about that, are they?
they are not at all, and we welcome all opinions. But it seems to have resonated well in the selection. So Roberto, if you want to share a thought or two, and then we'll jump back into the budget.
Very good. Roberto Tabota, what do you see when you're when you're watching social media there for the district? I imagine, again, folks aren't shy, and they will let you know what they think about posts and announcements and things along that line, right?
Absolutely, they're not. Good morning, Scott.
Good morning.
So we had a really good reaction to naming of our two new principals. Hundreds of likes, and also hundreds of really not just congratulating them, but lots of comments. Celebrating the decision by the district.
Very good. Well, again, that's important and good to see. So appreciate that, and good that that's how the reaction has been, because you never know sometimes.
And let me share, Scott, that we celebrate the work of those that come before us. So Luann Davis, certainly Shannon Waller, wonderful people, great leadership, and it will be fun watching the transition and how new leaders step in and leave their mark and kind of plant their flag moving forward. But these are great people. They're seemingly welcomed by their staff in new communities, and so we'll, as you say, let's watch them grow.
Okay, there you go. Well, very good. Well, I think that's a good way to get into the conversation now about money
Yes.
and budgets and things like that, as Bobby Newland was mentioning. It's a good budget year, it sounds like, from the state of New Mexico, and things are trickling down to schools and other programs across the state. There's a lot of revenue coming into Santa Fe these days.
Yes, and we thank our oil and gas producers for the budget capacity that went into building this budget, something like a 12% overall increase in the size of the budget at the state level, and for Farmington in particular, it's an infusion of, because our enrollment has grown, because something called the unit value has increased, it creates the capacity for upwards of $4 million new dollars that we can roll into the budget. So I was looking at it, and it amazes me. This will be the first budget that goes over $100 million for the Farmington Municipal Schools. And I will share, about 7 years ago, Scott, when you and I were having the same conversation, it was like $80 million. So today I'm proud to announce I'm the $25 million man.
Wow.
And
How about that?
In
Okay.
7 years of trying to build budgets and work with the state, but there's so many things to be excited about, and I welcome Ms. Newland's thoughts. But in particular, we are very proud that we will be presenting a budget to our board and our community that really is an investment in kids. You know, it's new teachers, and Bobby, I welcome you and Roberto joining, but it's about kids, it's about honoring staff as professionals. It's taking into account that art, music, athletics, the whole child is pictured in the decisions behind the 4.6 or so million that we're adding in to build on our budget. So Bobby and Roberto, I welcome your thoughts.
Yes, it is a very a well-rounded budget. It's not just in the classroom. It's different programs like the career and technical program, the athletics and activities, where we'll be able to put 2 full-time art teachers in the classrooms for the elementary schools, and it's a nice budget. It's not, we don't have to just concentrate on one little area. It's
Right. And let me just run through the list for our radio audience who can't see it on the screen, if you don't mind, Dr. Schmidt and Ms. Newland, so everyone sees. But you mentioned the 2 full-time art teachers as part of this new positions. These are new positions. 4 teachers at Farmington High School, 1 elective teacher at Farmington High School, 4 grades 6 through 12 virtual school teachers, 1 additional elementary teacher, as you mentioned, 2 career and technical education staff, 3 middle school electives teachers, 4 educational assistants, 1 grade 6 through 12 virtual school administrator, 2 additional athletic trainers, and 3 AMP staff. And I really try to know my acronyms, but AMP is confusing me, Dr. Schmidt. What is one of those?
And I'll take you through, but first I want to clarify something that Ms. Newland has shared. When we talk about 2 full-time art teachers, we have been on a path, and I applaud Ms. Newland in her role as the Chief Financial Officer, to make sure that every elementary has a full-time art teacher. And in this case, the 2 that we are adding, previously schools had half-time. And now all elementaries will have full-time art teachers. So it's been kind of like a 3 or 4 year journey to make sure that there's equitability, that there's fairness in curriculum opportunities. So I'm really excited that this is one of those promises that we made probably 5 years ago as part of, as money is available, we will continue to build on the specials that teach the things of added interest. So going back to the 3 AMPs, about 3 years ago, we received a grant from the state that allowed us to extend the life skills students in our high school past graduation. So it's like 1 year past graduation in which life skills students could then connect with the world of work through employment. And so the AMP teachers, these representatives, are the people that have been guiding the work of our special need kids in that job apprentice connection to the community. The grant ran out, but we see the success of these workers as such an important place in our school, and we'll talk about that later in graduation, but graduation rates for special needs kids has been something that we're very proud of. And these people who've been guiding, somebody calls, get up, go to school, why aren't you there? We're going to help you, and now we're going to help you get a job, has really inspired the special, most needy children and their families to decide to stay in school 1 more year for that real work life experience. And so our AMP people, this is something that we are now moving into the operational fund as opposed to the special ed fund to have these people connect with our highest need kids to keep them engaged in a real world work experience.
I see. Thank you for explaining that. Thank you very much. And then I guess the biggest chunk has to be the salary increases for your teachers. Of course, we've heard a lot about the level 1, 2, and 3 increases happening statewide and the other 7% raise now for support staff.
Yes, yes. And there's also a $15 minimum wage for school employees. That's another really big one.
Right, right.
Yes, the majority of the mandated expenses have been salaries and benefits. So,
Right.
And they have been funded this year, which is a great thing.
Doesn't always
No,
always
that
happen.
doesn't always happen, no.
And so that's notable. In addition, and again, as Dr. Schmidt mentioned, the first school budget over $100 million, $104 million to be exact, $750,259.16. I'm glad to see that there too. And I hate to be Debbie Downer here, everybody, but how sustainable is a budget of this size? I guess that would be looking forward. I know that's probably something that, a lot of school districts are concerned about with some of these things by the state. We all want to pay our people more and compensate teachers for the work that they do and things along that line. Dr. Schmidt, is this sustainable at these levels?
So I'm going to say yes, and I wanted to give you a little bit of history first.
Sure.
I'm very proud of Farmington Municipal Schools, very proud of our school board. If I could take you back about 3 or 4 years in the chair as we talk about taking positions and proposals to the state legislature, Farmington Municipal Schools was out front 3 and 4 years ago calling for, at one time it was 40, 50, 60, then 50, 60, 70.
Those salary ranges.
We actually put those as proposals before the state legislature. So even though it took us 4 years to get there, we're very excited that Farmington had a voice. And so that's important for our community to understand, is a voice can make a difference in how we present things to the state legislature. But going back to your question, it is with belief and confidence that our state's economy continues to grow. I know that this year's budget, for example, was built on $60 anticipated cost of oil per barrel.
Right.
It is something in the neighborhood of $119. And so already next year, the budget analysts are projecting over $500 million in new money that could be available and still pay this $8.3 billion state budget. So at least in the immediate foreseeable future, that the state has plans to continue these conversations.
Sure.
And so I would say that for the next 3 months, I have great confidence.
Understood. And I realize that none of us can predict the future, and so I certainly understand that. But I know, and I'm sure a lot of thought and conversations went into some of these discussions at the state level of saying, if we raise these teacher salaries to these levels, which we all agree we want to do, can we continue to support that going forward? And I would hope that the extra money, too, coming on to school districts, a little bit of it finds its way into your cash balance for some of those leaner years that you can maybe cover maybe a slight cut or maybe not a big increase from year to year and still be able to offer some of these things to your employees and your teachers and things along that line. Are cash balances looking healthier, too, these days?
Yes, and so I'll answer that with a two-part response. And I know that in addition to your radio career, you have an economics bit of background.
No, I do not.
So,
I most certainly do not. I got none of my father's accounting genes at all. But go ahead.
But what happens in the economy, in the market, as people's incomes raise, people spend more. And it goes into gross receipts taxes for local communities, state, regional revenue. So even the act of increasing a teacher's salary increases purchasing power, which then flows into your community. And typically, a dollar will go through a town 7 times. The gas station, the grocery store, maybe the restaurant, maybe the physical fitness center, or the golf course. It just rolls through the town 7 times before a dollar leaves town. So when we are adding almost 10 or 12 million to the local economy, it will bounce around 7 times. And so,
Understood. Right.
So we're very excited. So that's very good. But in terms of the cash reserve, we have a board policy that expects at least a 7%. So think about 1.4 million, 7% of that. Ms. Newland is quietly building away, but even with that, we have consistently in the 7 years that I've been here working with Ms. Newland finished the year above that. And so we think that we have the financial capacity, should something go bad for a year or two, that there is the wherewithal to continue our programs at the current level. And as you recall, the caveat that, so what would cause it not? You and I lived through the 2019s when the state took back
Right.
our cash reserve.
Right.
And so, but
I believe the term was clawed back.
Yeah,
I think is what we called that, right? But yes, when you had your cash reserve, every school district, not just Farmington,
Yes.
but the state was having a budget crisis, and so they did take back some of those savings accounts, if you will, that school districts had been saving
Yes.
for over the years, and so we don't want to see that again. I don't think any of us do. So, good. Thank you for the explanation, Dr. Schmidt, as always. And I know before we run out of time, we definitely want to celebrate graduation rates, and
Yes.
you brought another graph with you, a little bit about that, so I wanted to share that with our audiences as well. Maybe hard to see on some screens, but the headline is graduation rates are increasing, on the rise.
Yep, graduations, I'm pleased to share that, that from the data we have thus far, 5 of the 6 years, the graduation rate continues to be at or higher than the state average. But when you look at particular schools, it excites me. Our comprehensive high schools, Piedra Vista, Farmington High, that graduate 300 and 400 kids every year, the graduation rates are up in the 80+%, and that's above the national average. And so, kudos to students and staff across the district for reaching the finish line. And certainly, Scott, we celebrate San Juan College High School all the time, that well over 95, 98%. But there are so many stories that we could explore. In this class, the class of 21, that I think is most interesting is the number of males in graduation increased. And that was something that we'd been very purposeful, because the men were lagging behind the ladies. And so a very purposeful, let's get more of the men across the finish line. So that's exciting. We talked a little bit about special ed.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, we can look back from 33% to over 60, now 70% of our special need kids are graduating. So there's a lot of detail in here that would be fun to explore if you're kind of a wonkish person for numbers. But the important thing, we talk about lift all boats.
Right.
All boats across the district are raising, regardless of school demographic or group. So there's just a lot to be excited about. So good for our kids, good for our staff, and Farmington be very proud.
Yes, and you can drill down pretty good in these with this data,
Yes.
can't you? As you look at these, and again, it's on the screen for our video viewers at the moment. I just want to just highlight the district-wide numbers, Dr. Schmidt. And from 2010, we were talking about a 67.4% graduation rate. Compare that to 2021, and you're now at 78.7 district-wide. That represents hundreds more students that are walking across that stage.
Yeah, not only hundreds every year, but you've got to keep that 100 plus another 100
That's right.
more. So it's just an exciting trend, and it was fun to have the Secretary of Education, Dr. Steinhaus, give Farmington a shout out of one of 3 school districts across the state that were recognized for increasing graduation during pandemic. So think about that. We sent kids home for the better part of 6, 8, 9, 12 months.
Right.
And graduation rates went up. And so we're very excited that it just speaks to pertinacity or perseverance, that grit that we like to have for our kids. It just speaks well when, how'd you do that? The state, how'd you do that? And it's because teachers built relationships with kids. Kids took responsibility for learning. Our parents became those first teachers at home. Just so many stories are layered under graduation rates going up in a pandemic.
Very good. Well, again, congratulations. And I think the numbers are similar for other districts in San Juan County. So the whole county, I think, should be celebrating that kids are staying in school and graduating. And that's a great thing. Now, one area where numbers are not going up, and that's a good thing, are your COVID numbers.
Yes.
And so we want to talk about that. This is when, like a golf score, low is good.
Low is good.
And so with COVID, you're still testing and you're still monitoring, obviously, the conditions at your schools. And so the numbers look pretty good. In fact, a dramatic drop is what we're saying.
And I'm very excited because whether you are talking to Jeff Bourgeois at the hospital, Mike Mestis, who's the county emergency management, our own school. We actually have a COVID website that you can go to on the district, but think about the numbers for our school. January, we had 998 cases of kids staying home for COVID. February, it was like 297. This chart actually says 14, but yesterday in the afternoon we had one more. So
15. Okay.
15 now in all of March as compared to almost 1,000 in January. It tells us that it's dropping. That and as they say that, we celebrate the fact that the masks are off. It's a personal choice now, but now we're talking to the state. Might there be a moment in time when I can release staff who are unvaccinated for their weekly testing? So we're having some nice, I'm calling them hopeful conversations with the Department of Health. And I would say, good for Farmington, good for New Mexico. As an example, January 25th, 3,301 COVID cases in New Mexico. This date yesterday, just over 300. So it's dropping in New Mexico, and with every drop, we're hoping that we are one step closer to returning to what maybe life was like pre-pandemic.
Indeed. Well, let's hope so. But the numbers are certainly going in that direction, which is great to see. Well, it's wonderful. Dr. Schmidt, we have run out of time, and I didn't even get to yell at you this month about leaving us, but I'm going to do it right now. So you're still on my list, Dr. Schmidt, but you're going to be enjoying a well-deserved retirement at the end of this school year, and so we certainly want to continue to wish you well. There is word on the your replacement. I don't know how anyone can replace you, but the new superintendent, I'll call it that. It's really not replacing you. But there are 4 finalists who have been selected. And so that process will start now in next month in April, and a new superintendent should be named here by I think the middle or towards the end of the month, if I'm not mistaken. Is that the timeline?
It is an exciting time, and I do look forward to the fact that you and I have 3 more months of friendship on the radio. And,
yes.
But
and many more months off the radio, at least I hope so, sir.
Yes. And so the board in their planning will look at April 8th as kind of for these 4 candidates to meet the community. And then April 9th, my understanding is that they will go into executive session, closed session, make a decision, make an offer. And so sometime in, like you say, mid-April, early April, an announcement should be coming in. And all 4 candidates are well qualified. I'm excited for the choices. And I know that whomever is chosen, that person will do wonderful things.
Very good. Well, now I haven't gotten my call yet. Should I be concerned?
Oh, yes.
About my application?
Yes.
I should be concerned about that. All right. I'm going to stay right here. Dr. Schmidt, it's always a pleasure. Thank you for coming in.
Thanks, Scott.
Great to see you. Bobby Newland, thank you for coming in as well. Appreciate you being here. Roberto Taboda, thank you for being here as well, everybody. My guest this morning from Farmington Schools with me here on KSJE. KSJE is proud to support the 11th annual Sassy Tortoise and Hare Run in downtown Farmington. 5 and 10K fun runs and a 1-mile stroller roll, beginning at 10:30 a.m. Saturday, April 2nd at Orchard Park. Music, food trucks, and more until 4 p.m. Find out more about the Sassy Run on runningguru.com. The Sassy Run is a fundraiser for Sexual Assault Services of Northwest New Mexico. KSJE is supported by the University of Denver Graduate School of Social Work Four Corners program. Proud to offer a Master's of Social Work degree in the Four Corners community. Application for the 2022-2024 cohort is open. Classes are taught Fridays and Saturdays in Durango. Find out more by emailing janelle.doughty, D-O-U-G-H-T-Y, at du.edu or at du.edu/socialwork/Four Corners. KSJE and San Juan College present the Student Success Coaching Tip of the Week. Week 10, Memorize versus Understand. One of the studying tips for college that can make a massive difference in how you approach new information is knowing the difference between memorizing the material and understanding it. Memorizing information isn't actually learning the information, it's just helping you learn how to repeat it during a finite time. The Student Success Coaching Tip of the Week, presented by KSJE and the Student Achievement Center at San Juan College.